Hands. Feet. Which one is a German name? You might find
Hands.
out. And I don't know about that. With Hans Jeffrey.
You don't know if Feet Hitler?
Yeah, Feet Hitler. Fraulein Feet.
Hans Christian Andersen.
He was not German.
But his name's Hans.
Yeah, but a European, but he was Danish, wasn't he? Hans Christian Andersen.
I love a Danish.
Copenhagen. We went and saw the
If
Hans
I could
Christian.
afford living in Copenhagen, and if I was allowed to, I'd live. That's a great city.
Great city,
Allowed
smashing
to.
city.
Good food. I don't know. It's just like visa
Women with
requirements.
nice asses, man. A lot of bike riding.
Yeah, I rode a bike around there. Me and Amos rode around the city on a bike.
Hans Christian Andersen. The Little Mermaid statue. It's got it all.
We went to Christiana. Remember that? It's like
Yeah.
a place where like weed's legal in the middle there.
I don't know if you remember the
Oh.
podcast, but it's the #1 dairy place on earth. They love dairy.
Oh, yeah. Good pull. Forgot about that.
I went to a Michelin star and it was all dairy on top of dairy.
Did you bring your Lactaid?
I did. I just did some damage in your toilet, Jack. I didn't bring it today.
I felt a quake. I was wondering what that was.
Yeah,
No.
it's
The only problem with any of those Norwegianers is when they say, oh yeah, it's a king bed, and then it's those two beds mushed together.
yeah. The Europeans don't know what they're doing in beds.
Wait, really?
Oh yeah, all over the place.
And if
no.
I did a Kentucky tour where I traveled and they just go, you'll be sharing a room with someone else. You're doing it on the cheap. You know what I mean? And the person you're sharing with, it's just a double bed, sharing it with a stranger.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, good night, mate.
Yeah, they just shove two beds together, and then there's the thing in the middle, and they're like, king bed. Kings.
King's like two beds.
King of the castle.
I did it with my dad when we went to Germany and we shared a bed. And my dad, as usual, he brings 2 pairs of underwear, 2 pairs of socks, 2 t-shirts, 2 pairs of shorts. He just washes an outfit. There's an outfit drying, an outfit being worn, and that's all my dad will have for weeks on end.
God, that's simple.
2 pairs of underwear. He's a fucking genius.
Well, where does he wash them? Just like in the sink?
Yeah, bar of soap.
Yeah.
With a bar of soap.
Yeah, washes them under the tap. He hangs them up. They dry, and then that's his next outfit. The other one, they're on a constant rotation.
Wait, even when he comes to visit you?
Oh, when he comes to visit, he probably brings 4 pairs of underwear. Like like when he's here for months.
Yeah. He really lets loose.
But when he's traveling on the road, he travels very light, my father. He's very proud of how little luggage he's got.
Isn't that one of the life hacks you brought up? Kind of like showering with your clothes or whatever.
You can shower with your clothes on, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Gary doesn't, he doesn't fuck around. with
My
things
college
like that.
roommate must have been on the Gary idea train because she used to have sex while I was in the same room and then hang her wet sex underwear in our shared closet to dry.
And you acted like you were asleep?
I was trying to sleep. I
Which
mean,
made it
where
hard
was
to
I?
film.
Where was I supposed to go? I would just like put my headphones on and just curl up
Dude,
in a
that's
ball.
so bad.
So bad.
You've got some dates coming up this weekend.
I do. Where am I?
Baltimore.
Baltimore.
Greenville.
Yeah, home of the Wire. And,
Mhm.
And the Ravens.
Greenville, home of Rory Scofield, the comedian.
Scoville.
Scoville. Yeah, I played golf with him the other day. I said Scofield. Nice guy. Yeah, my wife's favorite TV show is Physical, and he's fantastic in that show.
He was also very funny on the Jim Jeffries show.
He's very funny in the Jim Jeffries show. We played golf. It was one of the few times I was with a celebrity, and I rang up my wife so she could get excited, and she was like, "Oh wow!"
She's a big fan.
Big fan of Physical. That's her favorite show, and she loves it. And so he plays the husband.
He's pretty good at golf, huh?
He's a very good golfer. Yeah,
Yeah.
He's a very well in comparison to me. He's an excellent
Yeah, I
golfer.
guess so. All right, so you're going to be there in the home of Rory Scovel in Greenville, South Carolina. And then June 2nd, that's May 20th, Baltimore, May 21st, Greenville, South Carolina. Then June 2nd, Winnipeg. June 3rd.
Winnipeg, lose a peg. It's all fine with me.
June 3rd.
June 3rd, Saskatoon.
Yeah, Saskatoon.
Regina.
Sing a
After
tune,
that.
Saskatoon. That's how you should have done. Okay.
Schmigadoon.
Okay, and then you for Regina.
And then Australia. I'm looking forward to this Australian tour. I've been counting the days, as I do with every day.
Got a lot of cities in Australia.
I've built this calendar system.
You are going to be busy, as they say in Australia.
Yeah, I'm going to be doing a lot of gigs in Australia. I'm bringing the whole fam. The whole
Start with
fam's
Wollongong.
Wollongong. We're doing a big arena in Wollongong, and we're doing a little private gig in a place in Turramurra. So, little tiny secret gig.
Wollongong, Newcastle, Canberra, Hobart, Sydney,
Yeah.
Brisbane,
Yeah.
Sydney, Adelaide,
Wow.
Perth, Melbourne, Christchurch, Wellington, Auckland.
Jack's having a seizure.
Whoa.
Yeah, we've really milked the Australasia. We're going down there. We're going to crush the shit out of the cunt.
Yeah.
That should have been the tour name.
I've got a good show for you. No, the Australian tour's got a good name. Jim Jeffries Australian Tour.
Yeah.
2022.
Then you come back
2022.
and you have a month off, and then you're in Hawaii.
Hawaii. I'm
Hawaii.
doing. Oh yeah, I'm doing. And then I've got to like.
Lots of gigs. It's all on JimJeffries.com.
I'm going to a wedding in Britain. I'm traveling. I'm a traveling man.
You know, I was thinking we should add to the merch just a Jim Jeffries poo on a stick tour shirt, so that you can still feel like you had your poo on a stick.
Poo on a stick.
Yeah.
We should do that.
He's just totally put a stick tour.
I think I'm gonna ask the graphic designer to add that to our
They
merch.
still. I look back at that now. People would have liked the poo on the
Yeah.
stick tour.
Yes,
I think
of course they
as
would.
much as they'd like moist.
Yeah, poo on a stick tour.
But-
They have nothing to do with the jokes you're telling.
And think about, right now it says moist behind you. You could have a little stick with some poo on it.
Yeah, it's good.
Because that's moist. Probably.
No, I just have poo, poo, poo when they're coming out. And then as I walked down on stage, it would go on a stick.
Like
That's
that.
my intro songs. It is.
Poo. Poo. Are you ready to get pooed?
Yeah.
Who wants a poo on a stick?
Who brought that stick?
Could be law. I don't know.
We're watching a screen there, and it's got text messages on it, and one of them's from my wife, and you haven't opened it up there, Jack. Why?
Oh.
Okay, I just forward you an email from them. Whoa,
Not
what,
attentive at all.
what salacious thing are you and my wife texting about?
So I can ship back that mattress that's in my
oh
garage.
yeah, that's a good one. Yeah, that's
And I'm
good.
keeping it unread so I make sure I remember.
Yeah, good. Thanks for that, Jack. Glad you're getting that done.
The Patreon still going.
Yeah.
Still going.
Still
People
going
love
strong.
it.
Look,
Don't listen to the last episode. It wasn't our best work, but there's other ones. There's back catalogue there, and you can really get into it.
I'm saying the next one we record, I've told you, you got to bring shoes, you got to bring shorts,
We're going to run.
you got to limber up.
Yeah. I don't need to limber up.
Well, that's going to be part of it, limbering.
Number.
Yeah.
I just,
Yeah.
Jake, if I said it's not a race against each other, it's a race against the clock.
That's
Yeah,
life.
That's my
man.
life, yeah.
That also sounds like a tag for like an action movie.
It's not a race against each other. It's a race against the clock.
Yeah.
About two blokes who are runners who are in the Second World War, and they have to get to Hitler.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'd watch that.
So,
And Hitler's in Switzerland where they're making clocks.
Yes.
All right.
oh, you mean feed Hitler?
Yes.
Yeah,
feed
feed Hitler.
Yeah, okay.
And Hans Christian Andersen.
Yeah.
They're like a real odd couple, buddy cop type of
There's
situation.
Adult Hitler and child Hitler.
Mm.
Yeah, juvenile Hitler. Shake your ass. Okay.
I'll tell you how he did it. You never know how Hitler actually did it. Everybody put their hands up. Put their hands up. That's how he got them all to do the salute. We don't know what he's
Oh.
saying because he's saying it in German.
Mhm,
Put your
mhm.
hand up.
Yeah, put your hand up.
Follow us on our podcast. Cut it. Follow us on Instagram, IDCat Podcast, and also the store, right, Kelly?
Yeah, I don't know about that.com. And then our Patreon's patreon.com/IDCat.
The shit I just did in your house, Jack, I don't think I got all of it.
Yeah,
I
I mean,
think
you,
it was a 3/4.
you got up and you go, I'm going to let it rip.
I did.
He was in there a long time.
Yeah, you were in there for a really long
Oh,
time.
that's at home.
All
I
right,
spend
was
days.
Just gonna try and
My
introduce our
wife
guest,
doesn't.
but I
My
don't
wife
think this is
doesn't
the best
understand because
segue.
she shits so efficiently. My wife.
We have a nice guest.
Yeah, I think women are better at shitting efficiently. We got things to do.
It's because you can't read.
I was gonna say, here's our
I
guest.
can't read.
Women.
I was gonna introduce our guest. It's just-
How many ad reads have I sat through?
we're not gonna do
Where
it
I
now.
said, that's a close enough word.
We're certainly not
Sure.
gonna have to just introduce the guest after all that. We're gonna.
Oh, we have a guest?
Yeah. So.
Yeah,
All
we're
right,
going to
then.
have a guest.
Here we
and
go.
The
Here we go.
episode's not about shit.
Yeah, no, I was trying
And
to
the
say
person
maybe
here
not
now?
about
They're
shitting.
here?
Yeah, maybe not talking about
Oh,
shitting.
they're here.
They're here. All right, let's get rolling.
Please welcome our guest, Joanna Northover.
G'day, Joanna. Now it's time to play.
Yes, though. Yes, though. Yes, though. Yes, though. Judging a book by its cover.
I do just love that our guests can never hear that. And so when you sing along, I'm sure it's really unnerving.
It's well, Joanna is either sitting in front of a child's painting or a priceless piece of art. I can't decide which it will be. So that's
made
all. That's all. Yeah, she'll be like, I worked for days on that. Okay, so is it something to do with children, Joanna?
Well, I mean, it can be.
No,
But-
no.
Children,
Not really.
children
Don't lead 'em
usually
on,
are
Joanna.
very interested
Don't
in
lead 'em on.
this.
Yes, there you
Children are interested in it.
Yeah.
go. For
Has,
sure.
has it got something to do with art?
No.
Children are
Well,
interested.
I mean, it can, I guess, but no.
Is
Joanna,
it?
you're not helping.
Is it science based?
Yes.
Is it dinosaurs?
Yes.
How-
Yeah,
what
how
the
do you get
fuck?
that one?
Children are interested in dinosaurs, man.
Holy shit.
That
All
was
right.
incredible.
That's probably your
I
best one
just
ever.
know because I saw her going, oh, you can paint dinosaurs. Oh, there's science involved.
Oh, you can
Children
see
are
what she was
interested.
thinking?
I can. I didn't cheat. It's about dinosaurs, man.
Wow.
Joanna Northover has a bachelor's and master's degree in paleontology through the Earth Sciences Department at Carleton University in Ottawa and has participated in fieldwork in the high Arctic as part of her master's research with the Canadian Museum of Nature. After graduation, Joanna became a science educator at the Royal Tyrrell Museum of Paleontology, and you can find her on TikTok educating people about fossils and paleontology at Joannasaurus, JoannaSaurus.
There you go. You're like Ross from Friends.
Oh, yeah, I get that a lot.
Is he a popular person in your world where you go, oh, it's good he's flying the flag?
Well, let me just say the first time somebody said I was like Ross from Friends, I actually hadn't seen Friends, so I had no idea what they were talking about. They're like, oh, you're like Ross. And I'm like, who's Ross? Do I know him? Like, who's this guy? You know? But I have watched some Friends since then. And yeah, no, I mean,
I know.
he's not a nice.
I know it's not accurate.
No, I'm not even about that. I mean, like, he's not like the nicest dude. You know,
Oh, he's
to be
lovely,
compared
Ross.
to.
Nobody likes Ross.
I like Ross.
is like everybody's least favorite character.
I like. I remember I had a friend recently who had never seen Friends. Actually, a friend of my wife's, and she was like, "I've never seen Friends." And I tried to explain it to her. I said, "It's like an actor and a paleontologist and a chef that all hang out together." And I was like, "This sounds like a very weird show." When it's just
It's a
six
very
people.
normal show.
It's a
yeah.
very normal
Yeah.
show. But if you break it down, it sounds odd.
I mean, he has a lot of time on his hands considering like what his supposed job is.
Oh,
like,
all of them do.
Yeah.
Monica was a chef. They worked like 12-hour days, and she was home
Yeah.
all the time just dicking about.
Yeah.
All right, cool. So I had some jokes too. Like I was going to give you some hints, like I was going to say, what's this one? Why can't you hear a pterodactyl go to the bathroom?
He is silent.
I know, I just gave it away.
He is
by
silent.
mistake.
Yep, yep,
Here's
yep.
another one. What do you call the dog of a dinosaur with one eye?
I think he saw us. I don't think he saw us.
Do you think he saw us Rex?
Do you think he saw us Rex?
The Rex.
Oh, that's a classic Jurassic Park.
Yeah, yeah. You got that from Jurassic Park.
I got that from the internet.
Ah, Jurassic Park, man. That's a solid movie.
Mhm.
They should bring out more of them instead of just making the one.
Okay, Joanna, I'm going to ask Jim a series of questions on dinosaurs. And at the end of him answering these questions, you're going to grade him on his accuracy, 0 through 10. 10's the best. And Kelly's going to grade him on confidence. I'm going to grade him on et cetera. 21 through 30, dynamite.
Yeah,
Get it?
That's good.
11 through 20, megasaurus.
yeah. That's me.
0 through 10, sore loser.
That one doesn't sound like a dinosaur.
Sore.
Dinosaur loser.
Saurus
yeah,
loser.
it was a weak one.
Dinosaur
You've done
loser.
better. You've done better.
Yeah, I've done worse.
Yeah.
Okay. But before we get into the questions, though, we're going to take a quick break for the ads.
And we're back.
Hey. All right, here we go. I'm going to ask Jim the questions. Joanna, after you listen to his answers, we'll repeat the answers for you if you don't remember. What are dinosaurs, Jim?
Dinosaurs are prehistoric creatures that were here before mankind was. They lived millions of years ago on this planet, and we know they existed because of the fossils that they have left in the ground.
What does the word dinosaur mean?
Dino meaning oh fuck me.
Okay,
Dinosaur. Old lizard.
We get pie.
Old lizard.
Yeah. Old lizard?
Old lizard.
Okay. When did they exist?
Well, they went through different. The Jurassic period was different from another period to another period. They're millions of years ago.
What
the year?
How many millions of years ago?
300 million years ago.
300 million. Okay. Why were dinosaurs so big?
Because of the movie, really. That's where they got the most popular.
Social media.
No, because
Made popular by-
what happened was you had big ones. They had no arms and feet. They had to feed from the top of the branches. You had other ones that needed to. They were just big, man.
Yeah. How did dinosaurs evolve?
Same way we evolved. There would have been like a tadpole that went thing, and then it grew legs, and then it went bigger, and then just like all evolution, it would have just taken a very long time.
Are the movie, TV, book versions fairly accurate? Like, do you know what did they look like?
No
actually?
one knows for sure. See, they reckon that all the things like the raptors and stuff are closer to birds, and maybe they even had feathers on them rather than having, no one knows what color they were. This is all open to interpretation. They could have meowed like a cat, but we just assume because they got a big sort of head that they would have gone roar, but we don't actually know that for sure. And I'm sure Joanna's going to tell us that we do, but you don't, Joanna. You don't, right?
I wouldn't assume that's what she's going to tell you.
Yeah, but
we do a pre-interview with her. I already know what she's going to tell you.
But we have some preconceived notions on what they're like, but we can never be for sure just going off the bones.
How did dinosaurs have sex?
Well, it depends what dinosaurs. There was many different breeds of dinosaurs. There would have been egg-laying dinosaurs.
T-Rex. Let's go with a T-Rex.
No,
like the actual physical.
I reckon there's penises, and a penis goes into a vagina. Do I have to explain this to you again?
Like missionary position? Like how they doing?
No, they would have gone from behind. Would have gone from behind, tackled them, got into it.
Okay. How did they birth offspring and take care of their young?
I believe most of it's got to do with eggs, and then it would be like any egg-bearing animal. They would bring food back to the nest, and then the animal would eat from. Maybe they would chew up the food, spit it into their mouth, but it would depend on dinosaur to dinosaur. Like we've still got dinosaurs.
Give me some examples.
We've got dinosaurs today. We've still got like crocodiles. Crocodiles are still categorized as dinosaurs, and they, egg-laying animal, and they like any animal, they protect their young until they're strong enough to be out on their own, and the animals go out on their own.
Are dinosaurs smart, or were they?
Once again, we don't know, but we can know things like from where the bones are found that they hunted in packs, or whether they were herbivores, omnivores, or carnivores, and things like that. But that doesn't mean they're smart. But the movies would have you think that some of them are smart and some of them are dumb. But if I've learned anything from movies, the bigger the animal, the dumber it is. Right, it's always like if you watch like Lord of the Rings or something. There's always, or Star Wars. They're always riding on top of an animal that's like, like that one. The small person's on the back. And then you meet Yoda. He's fucking a foot tall and he's a genius. The bigger the animal, the dumber it is. You've never had there's no film with a giant animal that's just like, hey, how is everyone? Sorry, I'm late.
Well, this is a great cup of tea.
Yeah. They're never using fine crockery.
Where did dinosaurs live?
All over the world, man. But the world, the land was in different areas at different time. They've found like stuff in the middle of Australia that were probably sea animals, and there's obviously no water there now. They found they found great big prehistoric kangaroos, big fucking kangaroos, man. They found those, so they would have lived in Australia. But all over the planet. I think they've found fossils in the polar caps as well and stuff. I'm not 100% sure on that, but I'm just talking.
Why did dinosaurs go extinct and when?
Okay, so there's a meteorite. There's the meteorite theory, which is probably the most accurate, that a meteorite came causing an ice age and causing the planet to shift and for everything to freeze over like the movie Ice Age. But what I was taught in school as a child, which seems madness now, but this is what they taught in the Australian school system was the herbivores ate all the plants, the carnivores ate all the herbivores, and they just ran out of food. That is, swear to God, what the Australian school system in the early 80s were teaching us.
Dang.
What is the study of fossils called?
Paleontology, but that's a study of dinosaurs. But yeah, I would say paleontology.
What was the first dinosaur?
The first fossil we found, or the first dinosaur to live?
First dinosaur.
Yeah.
Correct.
No, it would have been I'll say it was a turtle.
Turtle dinosaur?
Yeah, a turtle.
Turtlesaur?
Turtlesaurus.
Okay. What was a typical lifespan of a dinosaur?
Well, see, it's the same thing. It's like a typical lifespan of like different animals, like the pterodactyls might have had a different. Brontosaurus lived for 45 years.
T-Rex.
T-Rex was only lived for 27 years. Live fast, die young.
What about a raptor?
Raptor was even younger because their hearts were beating too fast because they're always running. They never chilled. Stegosaurus is 80-year-old.
80-year-old?
80s.
What about a triceratops?
Triceratops, everyone's favorite dinosaur from all the kids. Yeah, that's everyone's favorite dinosaur.
I like the Stegosaurus.
The Triceratops, it's one of those ones. I'll say that one lived to 62.
Okay. Joanna, how did Jim do in his knowledge of dinosaurs? 0 to 10, 10's the best.
Well, I mean, it's very honestly, it's hard to grade. Maybe I'm too nice because he said a lot of things that were correct. And then he said some things that were extremely wrong. So I don't really know.
Doesn't
how
matter.
to
They're not
grade
here
it.
anymore.
You're offending the dinosaurs.
Well, so I'm going to give him like, I'm going to say, oh, it's so hard. I'm waffling. Should I give you a higher score? Maybe I'll give you a 6.5. I'll give you a 6.5.
I've never been into dinosaurs, man. You've never been into dinosaurs.
You did okay.
As a kid, I was never crazy about them, but other people were.
How do you do on confidence, Kelly?
I was gonna give him a 7 on confidence, but an extra 3 points for the fact that he got dinosaurs so quickly.
Yeah. So 10,
Yeah.
16.5. I'm going to give you 45. You're a Megasaur. Oh, no, you're Dynamite.
Dynamite.
JJ Walker.
Dinobite. You know what Dinobite is?
That'd be a breakfast cereal.
That's like a pet food.
That's when Arnie tries to attack Louise.
Yeah, sorry. Dogs here. I'm the worst person in the world. All right. So the first question is, what are dinosaurs? Jim said prehistoric creatures that were here before mankind. We know they existed because of fossils. That's tricky, smart. That's correct, I think.
Yeah.
But what are dinosaurs?
I mean, that's like, it's not incorrect for sure. Everything there is
Animals that
correct.
haven't been in my kitchen.
But, there is like dinosaur is actually a scientific word that describes a group of creatures that share characteristics in common. So even though everything you said was correct, there are some more details that define dinosaurs besides just the fact that they're prehistoric. So not everything that lived long ago and became a fossil is a dinosaur.
So just quickly, did you have that T-shirt on when we started, or did you have your top buttoned up? Did you have it? Did you have it buttoned up though?
I kind of hit it.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
yeah.
I thought I didn't want to take away from my guest.
She had it close.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I had it close for sure. So there are other traits that define what a dinosaur is. So like, for instance, pterosaurs, commonly called pterodactyls, are not dinosaurs.
Oh.
Yeah.
My wife loves dinosaurs. I'm going to blow her mind with that.
Wait, why aren't they dinosaurs?
So like I said, in paleontology and in biology as well, groups are defined by shared characteristics, shared traits, and the traits that make a dinosaur, the pterosaurs do not have some of those traits. Now, pterosaurs are actually closely related to dinosaurs. Dinosaurs, pterosaurs, and crocodiles all belong to a group called archosaurs, which are the ruling reptiles, and they're all related to one another. So crocodiles and birds are the closest living relatives to dinosaurs. And as you mentioned, birds are living dinosaurs. So pterosaurs fall in that same group. So they are related to dinosaurs, but they're not quite dinosaurs themselves. So they're kind of like a dinosaur's cousin.
So what are the traits that they have to be considered a dinosaur?
So it's the easiest one to spot that is kind of used most often is what's called a perforate acetabulum or an open acetabulum. So their hip socket has an opening in it, like an open hole.
That's called an asshole, right?
Not quite. It's in the if you had one, that would give you two of those. It could be two assholes if you had, because you have a hip socket on either side. So
right.
That makes things efficient.
Yeah. There's other things
one
as
for
well.
Shit and one for fucking.
Yeah. There's other things as well, of course, that define dinosaurs. But if you're looking at like what is included within Dinosauria, the group Dinosauria, it's things the Saurischian dinosaurs, which would be the what we call meat-eating dinosaurs, the theropods, so things like T-Rex and raptors, called more scientifically called dromaeosaurs, and the long-necked dinosaurs. They're all Saurischian dinosaurs, and birds fall into the theropod category. And then you have ornithischian dinosaurs, which are things like duck-billed dinosaurs, armored dinosaurs, stegosaurs, and triceratops and all the other dinosaurs, the plant-eating dinosaurs. And those two groups together form dinosaurs. And then just to the outside of that, not quite a dinosaur, are the pterosaurs.
But they all lived at the same time, or was there different periods for different dinosaurs?
Yeah, so that's another thing that people commonly have misconceptions about. Not all dinosaurs lived at the same time. They have a very long history. They lived for a very long time on the planet, all throughout the Jurassic Cretaceous. So the types of dinosaurs that you would see in the Jurassic period are not the same kinds of dinosaurs that you would necessarily see in the Cretaceous period, which came after. Pterosaurs lived throughout that time as well. And there are different groups of pterosaurs. Like some pterosaurs had teeth, some pterosaurs did not have teeth. Some were large, some were small, some had crests, some did not. So even within pterosaurs, there's all these other different groupings, and they had their own evolution and their own change through the Mesozoic, or the age of reptiles, as it's sometimes called. And dinosaurs, they had their own, evolution and change, and they had all their different branching groups that went on. And those got even more complicated as the Mesozoic went on, because at the beginning, when dinosaurs first evolved, all the continents were kind of connected into one big one called Pangaea, which you've probably heard of before. And that broke up slowly over the Mesozoic, and that isolated dinosaurs more and more. And when you get isolation from other populations, that's when, you can have evolution occur and speciation, etc. So pockets of, like, the dinosaurs that were living in North America in the Cretaceous period were, different than those in South America or Europe, for instance. So there's all different communities even living at the same time.
Right.
So it's very complicated.
Yeah.
I've got that information in my head forever now.
All you're going to remember is a pterodactyl's not a dinosaur.
Yeah.
What does the word dinosaur mean? Jim said old lizard.
Old lizard.
Okay. That's 50% correct. So the first part, dino, means terrible, but it doesn't mean terrible like awful. Oh my gosh, that's terrible. It means terrible is like in like awesome, fearsome, terrible lizard.
Oh,
terrible lizard. Boom,
Yes.
shakalaka. And old people are terrible.
Yeah, that's true.
And they look like lizards.
Yeah.
I thought old lizard was a pretty good guess.
Yeah.
I didn't know what dinosaur meant, but I was like, you might be right. So when did they exist? Jim said 300 million years ago.
Okay, that's not right.
Idiot, Jim.
That's
Idiot.
It's okay. That's all right. You know what? The geological time scale is like massive. When you really think about it, it boggles the mind, like, how much time there is. So dinosaurs lived during the Mesozoic, which is the age of reptiles, which consists of the Triassic, Jurassic, and Cretaceous. But they only showed up sort of midway through the Triassic period. So usually we say around 230 million years ago is when dinosaurs started.
I tell you, that's closer than most of my guesses, man. I could have said a billion. 300 million is pretty good.
70 million
Yeah,
years
that's
old.
not too bad. Not too bad.
What was 300 million years ago? What was hanging around then?
Oh gosh. Let me see.
It was people
Hold
back
on.
then.
No.
There we go, people, dinosaur people.
No.
Cyclical.
300 million years. I'm pretty sure that was the
Worms.
No.
Worms, amoebas.
Okay, I'm right. It's the Carboniferous. Okay, so 300 million years ago, the Carboniferous, that's when you have like gigantic like insects and stuff like that roaming around. That's when there was a lot of coal deposits, because of the environment at that point as well. So, there would have been some land creatures in the Carboniferous as well.
Right.
But
Australia still has massive insects, doesn't it?
yeah, but we're talking like really big insects. We're talking like, dragonflies with like gigantic wingspans, like, huge.
Yeah.
We're not talking like,
Yeah. No, I got you.
it's like beyond.
Why were dinosaurs so big? Jim said because of the movies mostly. And they needed to
Okay.
reach up in the trees.
Reach up in the
So-
trees, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, so the thing is, dinosaurs were not all gigantic. There were actually smaller dinosaurs. And because birds are living dinosaurs, I mean, the smallest dinosaur is like a hummingbird, right? Because it's so tiny. But if you're talking about dinosaurs, what we call non-avian dinosaurs, it's not an official term, but it's what we use to describe the dinosaurs that went extinct at the end of the Cretaceous period. Anything basically that's not a bird or a direct, like, bird, fossilized bird. So non-avian dinosaurs, some of them were quite small, like maybe the size of a chicken or the size of a small bird, like a bigger bird, like a crow, for instance. So some of them were rather tiny. But dinosaurs did get very large, and they did get larger than almost anything that has ever lived on land. And that would be the long-necked dinosaurs or the sauropod dinosaurs. And so there's a lot of different hypotheses for why they did get larger, but it's not known 100% for sure. We can test these ideas in different ways and present evidence, but it's a very difficult problem to tease out because it's not necessarily one answer, right? There's a lot of things that go into evolution of a species. There's a lot of things that go into, allowing these creatures to adapt to their environment. The earth is a complex system. There's a lot of moving parts, right? But some of the ideas that have been put forth, some of the hypotheses that are being tested are that the plant life at the time, there was more plant life available to them. So they had more resources to get bigger. So they did get bigger, that the environment was more productive. There's also the idea that because dinosaurs are related to birds, and there's some evidence in their skeleton that they had a more bird-like respiratory system. So they had a more efficient respiratory system, which means that they had a more efficient metabolism. And so they could process things more efficiently, and that could let them grow larger as well. The sauropods in particular have a very long neck. And so that actually might have helped them get larger because they could forage for food more effectively without having to move their bodies, expend less energy to get more food, you know?
Right.
There's also a hypothesis that it was an arms race between their predators and them. So as their predators got larger, they got larger as like a defense mechanism. So the bigger you are, the less likely you are to get eaten. Right. Yeah. So, but there's, I actually was, someone asked me this question and I was looking into the information, and there was a study published recently that was looking at this question and trying to answer it using like mathematical models to try and model which of these hypotheses might, contribute to the size and which might not. And in their study, they saw that maybe the increased pressure from predators actually would make them have a lower body size because they're trying to start reproducing faster before they get eaten. So that was an interesting, not the final word on the subject by any means, but when I read that, I was like, oh, that's a very interesting point, So just to say, like, things are still evolving, we're still learning new things.
I feel like they make the dinosaurs bigger in the movies than when I see them in the museum, because isn't it right that the T-Rex is maybe 12 foot tall or something? Or maybe I've got that wrong. I
think it's about 3 meters at the hip. Is that about 2.5, 3 meters at the hip? They're pretty big.
That'd be bigger, yeah.
Yeah, but like in the movie, it looks like it's 20 foot tall. Right. Looks even bigger.
Yeah. So the one that was for sure, if you're talking about Jurassic Park in particular, the one dinosaur that is for sure the wrong size is the raptors or the dromaeosaurs. They are much larger in the movies than a velociraptor is in real life. And there's a whole bunch of other things about that dinosaur that is actually not what a velociraptor actually looks like. They modeled it on a different dinosaur called Deinonychus, and then they named it Velociraptor in the book, and then in the movie, because it was a sort of a showier.
So Steven Spielberg was lying to us. That movie wasn't accurate. So what can I trust to the man now?
Yeah. The thing is, I mean, it is a movie, right? They're movie monsters, but
shut your
Jurassic
mouth.
Jurassic Park did a lot for paleontology, because before that, a lot of the depictions of dinosaurs in movies and stuff had them as these slow, lumbering beasts. But we now know that dinosaurs, were at least most of them were warm-blooded, like birds are today, or at least some. And so. It showed them as more like active, agile things, more intelligent things. Like it updated the public's image of what dinosaurs were all about. But they definitely added a bunch of stuff that was not scientifically based, which is, that's movies, right? That's movie magic.
Did you find that movie made your career a lot more interesting, or did you find it made it a little bit more challenging because everyone brings it up all the bloody time?
So yeah, it's kind of a catch-22, I guess. I mean, it definitely brings up a lot of opportunities to tell people about the real science, because it invigorates them and gets them more excited about dinosaurs and paleontology. So it's definitely like a gateway. Like it gets people excited, gets them asking questions, gets them thinking about it. And then we can correct misconceptions, and we can also, give them new information that they maybe didn't even know that they might have wanted. So it was, I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing, but
are you going to the cinema right away to see the new one? Are you going right away? Because like the dinosaurs in the new one are all over the planet now. They're all here. We have to live in a symbiotic relationship with them. It looks pretty cool.
I'm pumped.
Yeah. Thoughts?
Yeah. I'm more pumped for the one that's coming out on Apple Plus. That one, that documentary that's narrated by David Attenborough, and it's like based on the real science, and it's going to be like super awesome. What's that one? Oh, is it Prehistoric Planet? I think it's called.
It's good because David Attenborough was there for it when it happened.
I saw this T-Rex with my own eyes.
Yeah. The T-Rex is an interesting animal. It has to forage to find food.
And he never tips.
My dad told me that when Jurassic Park came out, we saw it in the theater, and I think I was probably 6 or 7. And I think it scared me. And so when we came out of the theater, he goes, "So what'd you think?" And I go, "It was okay. I think I would have preferred Free Willy." And so that was my quote.
She still likes Free Willy to
Oh,
this
wow.
day.
Okay.
Never
I
pays for
saw
it.
Free Willy in the drive-through, actually. That's a
Right.
drive-through
Drive-in
movie theater.
Oh, that's a long time
Yeah,
ago. I bet there was
yeah.
dinosaurs walking around there.
So
What got
I mean,
you into dinosaurs? Were you just a kid who loved dinosaurs, or
Oh yeah. I honestly don't remember when I started loving them. I told people when I was like 3 or 4 years old that I was going to be a paleontologist when I grew up, is what I said to them.
My son's 9; he couldn't even say that word.
I mean, and so I mean, and you know, things have happened over the years that has, I've gone away, come back, gone away, come back. But Jurassic Park was one of the things that like I reinvigorate. It actually did reinvigorate my interest in dinosaurs. I liked them the whole time, but it made me even more excited about them, to learn about them. And it kind of like solidified for me. So the original movie is definitely my favorite. I like The Lost World.
Do you like the band
Jurassic Park-
T-Rex?
Pardon?
Do you ever listen to the band T-Rex?
No.
Dinosaur Jr.
Get it on,
Oh, that?
get it on.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I've heard that song.
Okay, how did dinosaurs evolve?
Good band, man.
Same way we do. They started as tadpoles and kept evolving.
Yeah.
Okay, so I mean that's kind of how all tetrapods evolve. So tetrapods are the group that we also belong to, which are creatures with 4 limbs that live on land. So even an amphibian is considered a tetrapod. So it's not wrong because we all share a common ancestor with all creatures with backbones, vertebrates that live on land are all tetrapods, right? But I mean, dinosaurs evolved in the Triassic period, in the middle of the Triassic period. And they actually, their evolution was driven by the fact that there had been a very large mass extinction about 252 million years ago at the end of the Permian period, also known as the Great Dying. It's actually the largest mass extinction in the history of the Earth. And it wiped out a lot of the creatures that had previously been occupying these niches, these parts of the environment. And those would be the synapsid group, and synapsids are related to us mammals. So synapsids, that group eventually evolved and changed and became mammals like us. And the early synapsids ruled the world in the Permian period. And at the end of the Permian period, the Great Dying happened, and that opened up a bunch of space for new groups to evolve into those ecological niches, into those areas of the environment. And so for the beginning of the Triassic, there was all these weird, so archosaurs did that. And at the beginning of the Triassic, there was all sorts of weird archosaurs, including a lot of relatives of crocodiles. So not crocodiles themselves, but relatives of that group, the crocodile group. And some of them were super weird and bizarre. And dinosaurs sort of lived alongside them. And then there was some extinctions in the middle Triassic, in the Triassic, and at the end of the Triassic, moving into the Jurassic, that killed off those competitors, and the dinosaurs kind of emerged victorious. They outcompeted their competition.
So there isn't meteorite? There wasn't a meteorite? There was
a meteorite.
You can jump ahead to that. Yeah, how did they go?
Yeah, that's later down the line. That was the end of the road for the dinosaurs. The beginning, it started with an extinction that helped them out, and it ended because birds made it through. But for the non-avian dinosaurs, it ended with an extinction that wiped them out. So,
and that was a meteorite? That was an asteroid or a meteor?
Yeah. It hit in the Yucatan Peninsula in Mexico. So
you know where it hit?
Yeah, they found the crater. That's actually the hypothesis for why the dinosaurs went extinct. And of course, there were many posed over the years, but now the prevailing hypothesis that has tons and tons of evidence to support it is this meteorite impact. And the reason why it was first proposed is because in the rocks around the world that come from the very end of the Cretaceous period, dating to about 66 million years ago, there is a higher level of iridium, the element iridium, than there should be. So it's the iridium spike. So if you measure it through the rocks, there's not very much, and then it spikes right at that layer, and then it goes back sort of to normal. And so they were saying, well, iridium is something that is not common on Earth, but is found more commonly in meteorites and other things that come from outer space. And so this is evidence that there was a large meteorite, a large impact event, that the dust spread over the Earth and settled down and caused this iridium spike. So they proposed this, and then they found this the crater on the Yucatan Peninsula. And it's so big that you can only see it like if you do like aerial surveys, like ground surveys, etc. It's like buried underground. It's gigantic. When they found this and they dated the crater and found that it matched exactly to the end of the Cretaceous period, they're like, okay, here's the evidence that that here's the impact happened here. And they've also found other things, not just the iridium. You know, in North America, you can find like little ejectile from the meteor, like little round, tektites, I think tektites, I think they're called. Anyway, they're
What
little
are you
round
asking us
balls
for?
that
I
are,
You're right.
It's tektite.
Correct.
It's for sure
tektites.
tektite.
Thank you.
I think it's tech right,
Yeah, little
but whatever.
tektite. Yeah, they're little round balls. They're from impact events, and they're found in the layer as well. So more evidence that there was an.
Have you heard that bit of bullshit that I was fed at school that the animals ate all the food and that was the end?
I had heard that hypothesis. Yeah. Like when I was younger,
Yeah.
you know, I heard that. And also that there was also, I think, a hypothesis that they, like one of the really early hypotheses, they got so big that they like crushed all their eggs. Like
there was some batshit
bunch of
crazy, just somebody going, I reckon. And that's what we were taught at school, the I reckon policy.
They all were smoking cigarettes.
Yeah.
They didn't eat their vegetables, so they died.
What did they look like? Like they did in the movies and TVs? Jim said no one really knows, but he believes you're going to say people do know. That's what he said.
Okay. So yeah, this is where, you know, we've actually come leaps and bounds.
You don't know.
So I'm going to say for some dinosaurs, yeah, we don't. For some, we don't. However,
A couple of them left photo albums around.
there have been leaps and bounds recently in paleontology in terms of understanding what dinosaurs look like as living creatures. And that's because we understand better how to look for soft tissue preservation. So there are dinosaurs that you have like their imprints of their skin and actual fossilized skin. And there's also, of course, dinosaurs with feathers, and they have the fossilized feathers right there on the rock beside the fossil. You can see the shape, the size, and we can also tell the color. And so this is something that when I was younger, so not for every dinosaur for sure. And there's still lots to be learned about this technique. It's a newer technique. It's being developed, but it's being repeated over and over again and getting the same results, which is showing like a good sign that this is going to be a technique that we can use going forward.
What about that one that has the flaps that came out and shot Newman in the face with acid?
Yeah.
No, that's all made up. Like
Newman, the flap
That's
monster.
Dilophosaurus is a real dinosaur. Don't get me wrong. Dilophosaurus is a real dinosaur, but it did not have a frill and it did not spit venom. Like there's no evidence for that
What about
whatsoever.
like the frill neck lizard in Australia? That would be from the dinosaurs, and it has a frill. The frills exist.
But it's not a dinosaur. Lizards are a totally different group within reptiles. They're not archosaurs. They're not the ruling reptiles.
You've lost me now.
Lizards and snakes are their own group within reptiles.
Do you know how they sound, or is that interpreted?
I think sound is a lot more interpretation. Though the hadrosaurs, some of the duck-billed dinosaurs, they do have hollow crests, and they think that could have been used for sound, like resonating sound for doing calls. And they have, pumped air through it, et cetera, to sort of hear how it sounds. But that was one, right?
That's a T-Rex. A lot of people don't know.
Yeah.
How did they have sex? He said T-Rex reckon they had penises. They came from behind and tackled them.
Yeah, like most animals.
Okay, so here's the one where it's like we don't know for sure, because up to this point we have not found dinosaur fossils where they were fossilized caught in the act. Which
no one dies in that position afterwards.
People do.
Well, I mean,
People
we
do.
found dinosaurs,
that one person walks away. You don't both die.
If you're in the middle of it, if you're in the middle of it and then you get like caught in a landslide or something, or like a pyroclastic flow,
Fleetwood Mac song.
If something very, very sudden were to happen, I mean, it's not outside the realm of possibility, but it seems very unlikely to find. But we do have a little bit more information than we used to. So paleontologists always assume that dinosaurs had what's called a cloaca. So a cloaca is an all-purpose hole. It does it all. It's reproductive and excrement, so you just everything
with the
same
birds,
hole,
the
no
birds.
slit.
When we did an episode on birds, we talked about the cloaca.
Yeah.
Then you guys already
all-purpose
know.
hole is such an interesting.
Yes.
It's
Well,
like an
it really
infomercial.
is.
You're
It
tired
really-
of all these different holes that do different things?
Get
your
our new
cloaca.
all-purpose hole.
Yeah. Well, so the thing is, we always assume they did because crocodiles have them, right? And that's their closest living relative. And
Which is
birds
Steve
have them,
Irwin
which are
died.
their descendants. So we just assume that, it makes sense that they have them as well. But we didn't have that evidence until quite recently. They did find a fossilized cloaca, and they were able to. So as I was mentioning before, we do know the color of some dinosaurs. And the reason we know this is because we have figured out that if you look at the fossil with a very high powered microscope, like a scanning electron microscope, you can find what are called melanosomes, fossilized melanosomes. Melanosomes are, what hold the pigment. And so different shaped melanosomes correspond to different pigments. Right.
Right.
And so they look at the melanosomes and they see what shape they are, and they use that to figure out what pigment was in that area. And so not only did they find a fossilized cloaca, they also looked and found that it did have some pigmentation. So possibly could have been, displaying. Yeah.
Displaying.
And I think the paper mentioned that it looked a little bit more like a crocodilian than a bird cloaca. So, hello, puppers.
Sorry, there's a dog outside that's howling.
Honey.
Oh,
No,
And
I
so
think
worry
that's
about
my
it.
roommate.
Oh,
She's
don't
howling.
Why is
worry
your
about
roommate
it.
She cheers on
The
Zoom
whole-
calls.
The whole beginning of the call, I could hear my daughter upstairs screaming.
Oh,
My husband was with her, and I could hear her yelling. Poor girl, she was wanting me, but I was not here. Well, whatever.
Sorry.
These things happen. Don't worry about it. It's
Sorry.
okay.
This podcast
well,
is
it's
more
our
important
fault
than your
because
daughter.
we made you come earlier.
No. That's totally fine.
There's
Just
a
like
lot. There's a lot of. I'm sorry.
Oh, go ahead. No.
I was just
It's
thinking.
okay.
There's a lot of pictures of dinosaurs having sex on the internet.
Yes.
Drawings, if you want to say, not pictures.
Yes.
But
Yeah.
they're
So
all.
there has.
Yeah. It's a lot of stuff.
Yeah. Well, there has been a lot of speculation, about how it would work.
We get
you know,
those
even
tails
from
out
the
of the
early-
way.
Is there fossilized dinosaur dicks?
No. So they have the cloaca, but there was no evidence of any reproductive organs. So that's the mystery, because, some birds, the birds don't really, they just kind of touch cloacas. It's called a cloacal kiss, right?
Ah,
Whereas like crocodiles have like an actual, dick that comes out,
yeah.
That's one thing you don't see in Jurassic Park with the T-Rex. You don't just
Yeah.
see him with a penis hanging out there like.
So
like
we
it's just
know,
like
yeah. So we know for sure they had cloaca. We know for sure that they put those cloaca together, but what was inside those cloacas, still a mystery. Hopefully will be someday solved. And we do know that they engaged in behavior, because like sex is also foreplay, right? So they engaged in behavior
Wait. That's a
beforehand
different
to
podcast
display.
for a different day.
Come on. Like we know that they did, do display behaviors, right? Like
Yeah.
there was, feathers were possibly used for display, coloration, etc. And there's also evidence that, for instance, tyrannosaurs were biting each other in the face, like face biting. And these marks only show up once they've reached sexual maturity. So it could possibly have to do with, fighting over territory or fighting for mates. As part of that thing. Same with ceratopsians, they have the horns, and there's evidence that they use those horns for sure on each other, evidence that they've, pierced each other with their horns. You have the dinosaurs with the dome heads, and, it's been shown that they did hit heads, by looking at the microstructure of the dome. They've been able to see that for sure it was being used for these impacts, and that could have possibly been part of courtship and display, right? So we do have, fossil evidence of, pre-behaviors. And we have a fossilized cloaca, which is like way more than we had to go on before, which is like excellent. But like the actual mechanics are still a lot of speculation.
So, so with fossils, all right, just to change subject from the Quakers for a second. With fossils, can you walk through an area and go, oh, this seems a very fossily type of area right now in the desert or something? Or can I be digging in my backyard and go, oh, fucking T-Rex?
Both.
Right, so they can be anywhere. It's not like it needs to be a dry environment or a this environment.
So where did they live is one of the questions. Jim said all over the world.
Yeah, and that was absolutely correct. Dinosaurs lived on every single continent, including Antarctica. There have been fossil expeditions and dinosaurs found in Antarctica and in the high Arctic of Canada, because they evolved when the continents of the earth were all connected in Pangea, that meant they were able to spread, right? And then they split apart. And so everything was connected. They were able to go everywhere.
And how deep would I have to dig? Like, because whenever I see the movies, it's always just someone with a brush, just sort of
Right.
on
Like,
the
How is
surface.
this so hard to find? It's right there.
Okay. So there are some caveats to this. So you have to be in an area that has rock of the right age. Okay. So the rock has to be, so if you're looking for dinosaurs in particular, if you're looking for fossils in general, then you have a way larger net. Like there are fossils all over the place, not just dinosaurs. But if you're wanting to find specifically dinosaur fossils, then you have to be in an area where the rocks are of the right age, where they come from some period during the Mesozoic. So the Triassic, Jurassic, Cretaceous, sometime when dinosaurs were alive. You need those rocks to be sedimentary rocks. So they have to have been laid down, either under the water or, from sand or mud or what have you, covering the animals. If you have an igneous rock, which is volcanic, you're not going to have fossils in that, right? So if you have like a nice piece of granite, that's not going to have any fossils in it. And, as a child, not understanding this, I definitely spent many hours in the park near my house scratching at a dinosaur bone that turned out, now that I have, more knowledge of geology, that was a quartz grain in a piece of granite, a quartz, the mineral quartz. It was a quartz vein in a chunk of granite. So,
bless you.
Yeah, disappointing. Yeah, I look back on myself. Oh, hindsight's 2020. But so it has to be sedimentary rock. It has to be rock from the right age. The reason why paleontologists often go to areas like the Badlands of North America, where it is so dry and arid, is because there's no way to really know where a fossil is going to be under the ground. Like ground penetrating radar, that kind of stuff does not work. So you have to find a place where the rock is exposed at the surface. And then you do what's called prospecting, where you go looking, at the surface, keeping an eye out for bits and pieces of fossil. And then if you find something that looks promising, then you might do an excavation and uncover the fossil to see what's there. So that's why paleontologists tend to go to those tend to go to those desert type regions, is because there's a lot of exposure, a lot of rock exposure. But it happens all the time that fossils are found during construction, because if you dig into the bedrock and that bedrock is sedimentary of the right age, there is a potential for fossils to be found. And it happens all the time.
Do you believe once we're wiped out that there'll be another new animal that will evolve from the planet?
I hope so.
Yeah.
I hope that we don't mess up the planet so bad that nothing can possibly evolve to take our place.
Yeah. How long do you think?
That's a sad thought.
How long do you think we've got?
Oh, I don't want to speculate. I don't want to doom and gloom.
I reckon 14 years.
2 months.
I hope more. For my kiddos upstairs, I hope more.
Oh, yeah. Sorry.
No, it's all good.
It's all good.
Are dinosaurs smart? Don't know for sure. We can tell based on bones. They hunted in packs and stuff. Bigger than animal, the dumber it is.
Yep.
Okay, actually not too bad. Not too bad. So again, just like any group of animals, there's going to be a whole range of intelligence. And for dinosaurs, it does prove true that the larger ones were not the sharpest tools in the shed, and that the smaller ones were a little bit more
Well, they have to develop their
intelligent.
brain more because they have to duck and cover, and their survival is a lot more different than a larger animal that just has to eat things and all that type of stuff. Yeah.
And carnivores on average tend to be more intelligent than herbivores. I like to explain it like, carnivores you have to think a little bit to catch something. Well, I mean, to catch something, you have to like work stuff out. You have to think like, okay, how far away is that thing? Can I pounce, etc. But a herbivore, like it's not that hard to hunt a blade of grass. Like it's there and you eat it.
Wow.
Right.
Shots fired at the vegans. We get it.
No, absolutely not. My husband is a vegan, so please don't.
You can say what you want about him.
Sorry.
He's not going to be able to figure out how to download the podcast anyway.
Oh no, he's far more technologically savvy than I am. So anyway, but no, as I was saying, it tends to be that the carnivorous ones are a bit more intelligent. It's not 100% true because, of course, elephants are very intelligent and they're herbivorous. Like it's not 100% true, of course. Nothing is 100% always, like rules are never right.
How close are we to doing what they did on Jurassic Park? Will it ever be possible?
You've asked this before. What was that? What was the other one you asked it on?
That was about honey.
Okay. All right. So here's the deal.
I think it was genetics.
Jurassic Park. Okay. So here's the thing. The way they did it in Jurassic Park so everything in science, you never want to say 100% no, because we're always learning, right? So science is a process. And as new discoveries are made and new techniques become available, new things become possible, right? So I'm never going to say 100% no. The likelihood, though, is extremely, extremely low, because after Jurassic Park came out, there were paleontologists that tried to extract DNA from amber, not even like the DNA of a dinosaur from a mosquito's blood, just like even the mosquito itself, and they were not able to do it. And also DNA itself as a molecule is not very stable. It breaks down rather quickly. The oldest DNA that we've been able to recover, and that's been, again, a very recent thing, is about 1 million years old. It's mammoth DNA, about 1 million years old. That's the oldest we have. Dinosaurs, if you're talking about
then make us a
non-avian
mammoth, man. Like, why can't we have a mammoth? Let's start. With a mammoth.
There are people that are talking about that, cloning mammoths, etc. But there's a lot of ethical things there as well that I don't know if we should get into.
Give me a mammoth.
I want a mammoth.
Right. So we haven't. Okay. Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, we haven't been able to recover that DNA, right? That older DNA, it breaks down too quickly, so we're not able to get it. And the amber doesn't seem to, be preserving it any better than just regular fossils. And so the likelihood of us finding DNA in dinosaur bones that are, 66 million years plus old is very, very, very low. There are some scientists that are trying to learn and understand more about dinosaur DNA by understanding bird DNA. So what they're doing is they're trying to, study bird DNA to see what genes do what genes make a bird specifically a bird and not other non-avian dinosaurs, right? What gives it a beak, for instance, instead of having a snout with teeth, that sort of thing. What gives it wings instead of claws on its hands? That sort of thing.
I was just thinking about a pigeon walking around New York with just a regular mouth and teeth, and just fucking terrifying.
Oh yeah. So they actually have figured that out. They figured out which gene did that, and they inhibited that gene in baby chicken embryos as they were developing. They didn't allow them to hatch, but then they studied them, and the pictures are incredible. It's like a little chicken, but it has a round snout that looks like an alligator, kind of. The bones do, you can see. So that's called the Chickenosaurus project. It's a whole other thing.
That sounds
where
fake.
they're trying to, it's not. I
hope taxpayers' money is not funding this.
But that's sort of another avenue, right? It's called evolutionary developmental biology. EVO-DEVO is its short form. And it's trying to understand the DNA of dinosaurs by understanding the DNA of birds, and what, if we turn off these genes, then we can see what the ancestral state is of birds. And that ancestral state is the non-avian dinosaurs that we know.
Well,
right?
I reckon we'll be able to do it.
What is the study of fossils called? Jim said paleontology?
Correct.
Yeah.
Paleontology, the study of ancient life by studying the fossil record. Study of ancient life through the fossil record.
Correct.
So does not just dinosaurs, though. It's
That's
not
why I
just
call
dinosaurs.
nurses in nursing homes.
What's that?
Paleontologist.
Oh, got it. What was the first dinosaur? Jim said Turtlesaurus.
Turtlesaurus.
No. Turtles are a very strange group. Let's not get into that. That's a whole other thing, because they have a weird, where they belong in the family tree.
I do. I feel like you're about to get into it.
No. I don't want to get into it. Turtles are strange and they're delightful.
You hate turtles.
But
okay.
I don't know. No, not at all. They are Archelon. Have you ever seen an Archelon? That thing with its toothless grin. It's so cute. It's gigantic, but it's cute. Anyway,
first dinosaur.
Oh my gosh. The first dinosaurs are usually, so the early record of dinosaurs is somewhere where there's a lot more potential for discovery. We don't have that many early dinosaurs. Most of them come from South America. And the two most, universally accepted and well-known are Herrerasaurus and Eoraptor. And they have, and those two, around 230 million years old. There's a few others that miite be a little bit older.
Herrerasaurus.
All right. Just to wrap up, what's your favorite dinosaur? If you had to pick one.
I hate this question. I can't choose. It's okay, I'm going to pick my daughter's favorite, Hypsilophodon.
What the hell is that one?
So Hypsilophodon is my candidate for the best dinosaur pet. because they weren't too large. They were herbivores, so you didn't have to worry about them eating you. They didn't have very big claws or, horns or anything like that they could gouge you with. They had larger eyes, so they were relatively cute. They had beaks.
Cows.
So yeah, but smaller, like 60 pounds or so.
Just like the little running guys. With the
I've seen it.
Okay,
long tail.
If you've ever seen Walking with Dinosaurs, have you seen the from the early 2000s? There was like a BBC thing called Walking with Dinosaurs. Have you seen that
But
one?
I've seen Dinosaur Train on PBS.
Oh, okay. I haven't seen enough episodes of those to know if
Dinosaur Train's genius. The people at PBS went like this: kids like dinosaurs, kids like trains. It's a whole lot of dinosaurs on a train.
Yeah, and I love Dinosaur Train because at the end they have, they come on and they say what parts were based on science and what parts were made up for fun. And
The train was based
essential.
on science.
That was so essential.
So typical lifespans, I don't know if you know these. Jim said Brontosaurus 45 years. Was he correct? Or do we not know
okay,
this?
so yeah,
Are these not even asked this question, or is it? Yeah.
No. There is. So I know for sure. Tyrannosaurs are the T-Rex, was a very famous fossil, is estimated to be about 28 years old.
Oh, wow.
We do have
Or
ways
27.
of estimating. Yeah. That's why I said, I was like, when he said that, I was like, whoa, that's one of the reasons I gave him such a high score. I was like, oh, how do you know that? That's good.
Yes.
But
the Jim Morrison of dinosaurs.
well, so anything, just like anything, dinosaurs are going to have a range of ages, right? Some are going to live longer than others. Smaller species might, not live as long, etc. But we do have ways of figuring out how old they are, and that is actually by slicing their bones very thinly, looking at them under the microscope. And there are these things called lags, lines of arrested growth, that you can count, kind of like tree rings.
Tree
Now that is, but it's not exactly, but there's more to it than that, but that's the general idea. And so we can estimate the ages of the dinosaurs based on how many legs they have in their bones.
All right.
Okay.
Well, this has been a very good podcast.
We have a dinner party facts.
I know we have to get to the dinner party fact.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I get very excited and I chat too much.
No. This is all good. What's your dinner party fact for people who go to dinner parties so they can say something interesting about dinosaurs?
All right.
Okay.
First time
So
Jim's
I have-
illustrated. We like it.
I have okay. So I have a few. I have some for different occasions. So the general fact, the general audience, is that we are closer in time to a Tyrannosaurus Rex than a Tyrannosaurus Rex is to a Stegosaurus. So that's
Whoa.
So-
that is interesting.
Wait, we're closer in
Yeah.
time to a T-Rex than a T-Rex is to a Stegosaurus.
yes.
That's
So
crazy.
Stegosaurus lived in the Jurassic. Tyrannosaurus at the very end of the Cretaceous. Cretaceous was only 66 million years ago.
It was more likely we could be friends with a T-Rex than
They
a T-Rex.
didn't
than
even
a
know
Stegosaurus.
each other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
Exactly.
a good one.
Wow.
We have more in common.
Well, we have a lot to share. We know the same TV shows. Well, thank you, Joanna. TikTok is at Joannasaurus, JoAnnaSaurus. I watched a couple of your TikToks, very informative and funny and fun. So follow her on TikTok. And thank you for being here.
Thank you for being on the show, Joanna. If you're
Thank you.
if you're ever at a party and people say we're not that close to which one was it?
T-Rex.
T-Rex. Go
T-Rex.
closer than the other animal.
Bang a gong. Get
So
it
I
up.
don't know about that.
Stegosaurus. Stegosaurus.
Hey, good night, Australia.
You could also use that dino nuggets are actually made of dinosaur meat because chickens are birds and birds are dinosaurs.
That one's easier for me to remember. Thank you.
Close us out again, Jim.
Good night, Australia.